Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you guys are having a good day. I decided to do a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie review, or not review, ranking video, much like I did a Final Destination ranking video last time. I'll also be doing a video connecting with the Sony Spider-Verse follow-up thing I was starting what was it, 2 months ago? I don't know, whenever the hell I did it. I had other glasses then, not the ones I have now. Uh, Anywho, also, if you haven't seen the pun of the day, the pun of the day is up, guys. Watch it, enjoy it, laugh, cringe, whatever you must do. So anyway, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, guys. There are 9 movies thus far. I'm sure they'll probably make 100 more. But and I'm going to rank them by what is worst up to what is, in my opinion, best. Now, as far as the history of these movies, the original came out in the 70s and was very, dark and very grindhouse style. Tobe Hooper made it, and then everything after that had sort of darkness, but then there was some comedy somewhat too. Sometimes they went completely over the top. And then the family itself is also very like it differentiates by movies. Like in the first movie, you have Grandpa and the cook, and you have the hitchhiker, and then you have Leatherface. And then the rest of the movies, they're just like, hey, here's another family member. Here's cousin Eddie. I'm just playing now. So they're very interesting in terms of their connections too. In terms of like, does this make sense? Does the timeline make sense here? Kind of like Halloween, how their timelines go all over the place. So yeah, as far as I saw the original like on, it was like one time it was just on TV. I think it was on AMC or something like that. I had never actually seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch this because I heard about it, but and then after that I watched all the sequels after that, and yeah, like it was pretty good and very creepy. So anyway, that's kind of my history of it, and I've occasionally caught the other sequels and the requels and all that stuff that's come out. So I thought I'd just do like a little ranking video and uh, just my opinions. Obviously, everyone's gonna have their own opinions on what's good and what's bad. And then and there's some tough decisions here in terms of what is really good and what is like, oh my god, why did they do this? And that was very tough on these decisions for the ranking. This won't be a super long video, but I will discuss each movie a little bit and what they did with it. And then I'll just rank my way from 9 to 1. So, all right, here we go. All right, so number 9. Like I said, picking the worst one was tougher than probably picking the best one. So, because there's some really bad ones in this series. Probably more. Probably along with line with all the Hellraiser straight to video that weren't Hellraiser movies that they turned Hellraiser. But this one doesn't have that. They always had that. Like Leatherface is always a character, and everybody else is kind of is. I'm a new family member too. So anyway, I would go number 9 will be Texas Chainsaw 3D because whatever you want to say about some of the other movies, this one just like there's one specific line in there that I will talk about that I'll get to in a minute. But this one to me, the timeline does not match up well at all because what they try to do is they kind of the requel. Idea where it's like this is taking place 30 years or 40 years. I can't remember exactly what they went with. It's been a while since I saw that piece of shit. But after the original. So they have this opening scene where the police department's like, I'm taking your boy. And, I think it was Steven Dorff was in that, I think. It was weird. Maybe it was Steven Dorff. I can't remember. And then the one guy's like, we're getting him a lawyer. We need a lawyer. I'm like, what? Like, this does not seem like they're trying to recreate from, like, the timeline of the original in the 70s, like, following this up, like, of what had just happened with Sally Hardesty and stuff and her friends. But it doesn't really make any goddamn sense because it's just like, oh, now the sheriff's department's here. Don't know where the hell they've been this entire other time, this other fucking movie that happened, but they're here now. And they've got a conspiracy against this whole damn Sawyer family. And it already sets up this kind of like corrupt police force thing going on or something. They're just being mean to the Sawyers and that and it's just like, what? So we're already off to a great start. Then we jump ahead to, I don't know if it's the 90s or the 2000s. It's been a while since I saw this, and I wasn't gonna rewatch it. No, but Alexandra Daddario's in it. Those of you who remember her, she's been in decent amount of movies over the last couple of years. She has very nice eyes. She's very pretty eyes. Yeah, and anyway, and she's decent. I've seen her in some movies that I thought she was decent in. But she's basically gets this will that's left to her. She gets this house left to her by her aunt or something like that, I believe it is. And so she's supposed to go there and, they read the will and all that good stuff. And so she goes with her boyfriend and her friends to go to this house. Well, apparently it's supposed to be the house that this whole Texas Chainsaw Massacre happened at. And it ultimately, Leatherface is just creeping in the basement, still living there after 40 fucking years. And so that's what we're going with. And somehow he's not super old. But anyway, so then of course everything hypes up and we get to a whole thing with the family, and then she finds out that this guy's her cousin, basically, I guess, somehow. And then, he of course, kills off her friends. Her boyfriend's cheating with her friend, so they get sliced up by Leatherface. As it's what happens in these movies. Not so much the cannibalistic stuff that we had in some of the other movies. Like, I didn't really remember there being that many things where he's eating anybody. Leatherface is more about peeling the skin and put it on his face than he is really eating that much. I don't remember if I've ever seen Leatherface actually eat anything. The rest of the family seemed like they were eating, but maybe I'm wrong. It's been a while. But why is he not eating? Feed this man. He must be eating because he's a pretty big guy. But anyway, of course, all this stuff is happening in 3D, by the way. 3D! It's coming right at you. Yeah! Chainsaw! So, anyway, it comes down to a whole big fight, and then, even after all this has happened, all of her friends, her boyfriend has been killed by her cousin here, we get back to the corrupt cops thing, and, there's a whole big battle out there, whatever. And then she just, throws the chainsaw to him and says, "Do your thing, cuz." And he basically kills all the police force. And I'm just so we're just making Leatherface an anti-hero now? That's what we're doing here? It's this man who literally uses a chainsaw and wears people's skins on his face. But guess what, guys? He's just misunderstood. What? Do your thing, cuz. One of the dumbest lines I've heard in a movie since somehow Palpatine returned. So it's these are the type of people who are getting writing jobs in Hollywood. When that writer's strike was going on, I was just you know what? There's some really talented writers in Hollywood that absolutely deserve to be paid more, and other creatives deserve to absolutely be more. But people who wrote lines like that need to go back to fucking writing school. Go back to screenwriting, because holy shit, that was a fucking cringy ass fucking line. Sorry, just gonna rant here, but yeah. So yeah, that is definitely my number 9, because no matter what happens in some of these other movies that are bad, that was just so fucking stupid, because it's the only time I can really think of in the other movies where he kind of comes off like an anti-hero, and it's no, this is fucking Leatherface. He wears people's skin on his face. This is not a misunderstood genius. He's not an artist. He's a guy with a fucking chainsaw who carves people's faces off and puts them on his own. It's just come on. It's fucking stupid. So anyway, that's my number 9. All right, so my number 8, another tough decision, because like I said, some of these are really bad. My number 8 is going to be probably, I would probably say, the most recent one that was on Netflix. Now, I will say in some cases this was better than the 3D one, because I didn't feel like they made him an anti-hero in this one. Some of the characters that he takes out are not great, because the whole storyline here is that basically these people, I guess they buy this town or something, and they want to basically gentrify it, essentially. We're going to build it up as an arts community or something. That's the idea behind it, I guess. And so the people like are living in this house, but like this one woman takes care of him and stuff. But he actually, but Leatherface has just been living in this house. But it's weird because it's like I don't think it's the house from the original, but we're still supposed to go with the storyline that this is the original Leatherface here, still living right here in, because it's set pretty much in modern times. It's like the timeline's even more screwed up here. But we're supposed to believe like he's just not an old crotchety old man somehow. Because last I know, Leatherface isn't supernatural, guys. So he's not a crotchety old man by this point somehow, but he's living in this kind of like, I don't know, halfway house or something. I don't know what they describe it as. But yeah. And yeah, then of course, I think the person that his caregiver dies, and then he pretty much just loses it and starts, slicing people up. And there were some decent kills, I'll say that. The sister characters were just kind of, there. I thought they were okay, but they were just not really that interesting to me. And I think that the boyfriend character gets killed pretty quickly, and he was alright. And then they had Sally Hardesty come back, guys. Because someone saw Halloween 2018 and said, yeah, let's do that shit. Let's bring back our character. Despite the fact that Sally Hardesty hasn't been in any of the fucking sequels or any of the other fucking movies. But goddamn it, we're going to bring her back. Because why not? We've tried everything else. And you know what? Okay. If you're going to do it, fine. But she really didn't have that big of a part. And then she dies. So it's just like, what was the point? If you want to go with the whole, like, survivor coming back to take out Leatherface once and for all, then that would have been the way to go. But nope. And the original actress who played her wasn't playing her either. It was a different actress. Because the original actress has passed. Because, it was a long time ago. But, yeah. So that part was just kind of thrown in there and kind of forced. And it was just like, okay, so that's the thing we're doing here. Yeah, there is a funny thing though I will say that I kind of laughed at was when he goes on the bus and then one guy's like, we're gonna cancel you, and then he just slices the guy up. I'm like, okay, that's one moment where he can be an anti-hero, because get people like that with I'm not getting off on the whole cancel culture thing, because that's not really a big thing. You can't really get canceled anyway. But it was just kind of, it was a funny moment, but it was also kind of like, okay, this screenwriter wanted to make a commentary there for a moment about people being annoying with it. I cancel you, plus telling a man with a chainsaw that you're going to cancel him is pretty stupid. So yeah, it was okay. I mean, it was enjoyable. I laughed at it a lot more than I did Texas Chainsaw 3D. Like, I just like, this is dumb. This is where we're at in the series. This is just, we're going with this. Okay. So yeah, that would be my number 8. All right. So my number 7 would be The Next Generation. Now, the points that you can give this movie are Matthew McConaughey is over the top and ridiculous. I'll give him that. For what the character he's playing, completely ridiculous, over the top. And so yeah, his performance is fun to watch, at least. It's fun to watch. It's not a great acted performance, I'd say, but if you're going for an over-the-top character, it's a good over-the-top performance. That's pretty much the only reason to watch this movie. Because they do... I watched this on VHS, I think. That's how old it was. With some friends of mine, my friend Christy and a bunch of people, we were in the drama club, and we rented this thing, and oh my God. We were all just like, what the fuck are they doing? Because we're still with the Sawyer family, but like, I don't think there's Grandpa might have been in it, but I don't think Grandpa's really on it. But there's no cook, there's no like that I remember, and McConaughey's there and some other crazy characters. But like a lot of these family characters, like I said, these sequels, you don't see them again. They're like, oh, there they are, and then now they're gone. So anyway. But yeah, it's really bad, and there's this whole weird like Illuminati storyline going on. Meanwhile, Renee Zellweger is just trying to go to a prom, but like it's there, and it's really bad. And Leatherface is putting makeup on his face and trying to be more feminine. And I think he's cross-dressing, I guess, too, which there's anything wrong with that. Do your thing. But it totally made no sense because Leatherface had not done that in any other movies. So why would he suddenly just be like, yeah, I'm going to wear a dress now and put makeup on? Okay, sure. I mean, obviously he's out of his mind, but like, and he also made this really annoying sound throughout the movie. It was a very annoying whine, which you're just like, boy, I sure am scared of this character. This character who skins people's faces and puts them on his own. Boy, I'm scared of him with all this lipstick and wearing a dress and whining like a sad puppy. I'm so scared of that. This movie's bad, and watch it once and then throw it away because it's really bad. So that's 3 really bad movies of next generation. So it does get a little better from here, but not perfect by any means. So from there we go to my number 6, which would be Leatherface, which was after Texas Chainsaw 3D, but before the Netflix one. Now this one is another prequel, which they did a prequel after the remake, which I'll talk about in a little bit. And basically their premise is that there are 4 people and they escape, I believe it's a hospital, a mental hospital or something like that. And basically the whole premise is that we're trying to figure out which one of these 4 people becomes Leatherface. Now, one of them is a woman, so we kind of rule her out right away. So that leaves us with 3 other people. Unless you're going to have Leatherface be a woman randomly, that okay. It's, new generation, whatever. And then that's the whole premise of the whole movie. That's the whole movie. And then basically this one guy who totally looks like he would be Leatherface is your red herring. And it ends up being this super skinny guy, and he's nice basically throughout the whole movie. But then, no, I'm just mad. I'm going to skin people's faces and put them on my face. Like, the story doesn't really play out well, where, like, everybody else is, like, over the top, insane, and crazy, like you would think they would be Leatherface. Nope, this guy, this nice little quiet guy, nope, now I'm just going to peel faces. So that part was, like, they could have done something interesting. Like, it would have been obvious, and I understand going for obvious, not going for the obvious and subverting expectations, as we like to do in Hollywood. We're subverting it. That shows we're genius. No, it doesn't. It shows that you're lame. Anyway, but, so it's okay. Like, it was at least somewhat of a different premise than what you'd gotten from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre before, because you can't just keep going back to the same old thing. But this wasn't the way to go. And it didn't really, what did it lend itself to? There wasn't a follow-up movie to it that was supposed to connect to this, so it was just kind of like, well, yeah, we did a thing. There's your prequel. Enjoy it. So that would be a number 6. My number 5 would probably be Texas Chainsaw 3, which was also called Leatherface, but it was called Leatherface Texas Chainsaw 3. Now, this one was interesting because it was in the 90s, I believe. Yeah, and Viggo Mortensen's in it, as well as, what's that one guy? I can look it up, guys. I can look it up. Because there's this one guy who's really awesome, and pretty much is the best part of the movie. But he's usually best part of the movie anyway, so he was in Death Spa as well. I don't want to be on Facebook. Go away. Go away, go away, go away, go away, go away, go away. I said go away, goddammit. Okay, let me close this crap out here. I got too much things open on this phone. Go away. There we go. Alright. There we go. Let's always have things open. Sorry, guys. Just looking this up real quick. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So, not Chain Doll. What the hell? Part 3. How there is. Leatherface. Yes, it was 1990. Okay. All right. Yes. Who's in this movie? Kate Hodge. Butler. Viggo. Ken Faree. That's who it is. He's awesome. He is the best part of this movie. The girl that's they're chasing, I think it starts with a couple, I believe, that being chased. It's been a little while since I've seen it, but anyway. And yeah, Vigo is part of the Sawyer family, basically, I believe. And yeah, and him and a couple other people were, of course, trying to terrorize them. And then we have Leatherface. Leatherface looks okay in this. I remember the trailer very much for this movie because I saw it on like a video, and it was like this chainsaw like flies out of the water, and then he just grabs it. It was a really cheesy promo. But like it was interesting because it was set by the water, and I'm just like, what is this, Jason Voorhees? What the fuck? But it felt like it was trying to cash in on those, but it was also 1990, and it's like, well, okay. So this movie's not great, but it's okay. Vigo's decent, you know. Like I said, Ken Foree's the best part of the movie. The main girl is just kind of there. She's all right, but like, yeah. So like I said, they're just more Sawyer family members because there's just 100 fucking people in this family apparently, and they're all fucking insane. By the way, not one of them is normal. Not one of them. So yeah, but Leatherface I think looks decent in this one. He's not, you know, looking as ridiculous as he did in that Next Generation. That's for sure. So it's decent. It's not great, but it's, you know, Ken Foree's pretty good in it. So if you like Ken Foree, watch it for Ken Foree. That's what I would say about that. Okay, so that was number 5, right? So that leaves us with 4 more. So this is tough, guys. So I would actually go with the beginning, Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning, which was the first ever prequel. Because everything's got to have a prequel, and every character always, you have to know every single thing about every character ever. Because that totally doesn't take away from the scariness of their character whatsoever. But we get a little bit of a prequel, which basically goes into how Leatherface becomes Leatherface, much like Leatherface did as well. And Arlie Ermey's character is in there from the, he played the sheriff in the remake. And he, yeah, so he's in there. I think here's the thing with him working at, it's been a little while since I'm trying to remember everything about it, but like, he works at a factory, and there's a whole thing with, I want to say he works with like the people who like assassinate cows and stuff. I'm trying to remember everything about it. But I remember it was at least well made. It wasn't great. Like I said, most of these aren't great. They're like, some of them are more watchable than others. And in terms of whatever your, you know, style of horror is, or what you like from a horror movie, because some people like over the top characters, some people like carnage and blood and guts and everything like that. Some people like torture porn. I personally hate it. So, you know, it depends on your level of that. It's not a bad prequel, I guess, if you wanted to get into Leatherface's character. But I don't know. I think it's more scary if this guy puts people's skins on his face. That's all you fucking need to know. This guy is out of his fucking mind. He chases people with chainsaws. So, I mean, do you really need to know, like, well, obviously something fucked up happened to him to lead him to this. Or this family he's with is very fucked up because they're eating people and shit. So, you know, obviously we needed a prequel. But, you know, they were cashing in. The remake did pretty well, so I think that's why they decided to cash in on it. Which, okay, it's not bad. It's decent for, you know, a prequel. But, you know, it's not something I'd watch over and over again. All right, that leaves us with top three. Now, the rest of the movies on this, I think, are at least watchable for various reasons. The original, the remake, and part 2. So, let's see. So, between the two, I'll go remake number 3. I did like the remake. I think they did a decent job with it for what, like I said, of the remakes that Platinum Dunes did. This one and the Friday the 13th one I thought were both good. Because Jessica Biel's character is solid. Arlie Ermey's a great addition to the Sawyer family, being the sheriff who's in on it and stuff like that. So, not like the bad cop thing that we had in the other movie. And Arlie Ermey's entertaining, and, you know, the guy who played Leatherface is pretty scary looking. So I think the guy playing Leatherface is pretty good. And so yeah, he's worth a watch and stuff like that. And it's decently done. It's, you know, it's glossy, you know, like glossy because it was 2000s and stuff. So we got kind of that 2000s glossy kind of thing to it, which Platinum Dunes did. But it's still pretty good. The kills are decent. It's a decent remake for most of the other remakes that have come out, and you're just like, that was shit. But no, this was actually solid, I thought, and they made Leatherface pretty scary, which was good because after so many movies of him being campy and weird, it was nice to see him kind of be scary again. So yeah, all right. So down to the final two. Number two, I would go. Actually, believe it or not, I will go with the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So, like I said, the first time I saw this movie, I believe I was in high school, maybe even. And I just was curious about it because I'd heard about it, but I'd never seen it. So I'm like, oh, I need to see this sometime. And I think it was on AMC, and it was late night on a Friday or a Saturday, I think. It was a weekend. And so I watched it, and I was like, wow, that was fucking creepy. So the interesting thing about this movie, too, is that, like, there's the guy in the wheelchair named Franklin, and I remember just reading this documentary, like, everybody hated this guy. He was a total dick. So it's like, when his character gets killed, after hearing that, you're just like, thank fucking God. And me and my friend Tim watched it, and there's that point before Leatherface chops him down, and he's just like, wait, I hear something. And we just fucking laughed our asses off because it was just such a perfect setup of, well, here I am getting slaughtered. And then there's this great moment where, of course, one of the opening scenes where the guy trips, and then he just like bashes him in the head with, and then drags him behind this. That was some scary shit. Just the way that it was filmed, and then you just look up, and here's this monstrous looking man, and yeah, and Sally Hardesty's a decent character, and like the rest of the characters, you got the cook, you got the hitchhiker who cuts his face and all that, and then you got old grandpa there. Obviously, they're cannibals, they're killing people. There's a lot of dead chickens everywhere and stuff, and body parts, and yeah, and Leatherface is pretty creepy in this too. He slices his own leg and does a dance. It's a crazy out there movie. And Tobe Hooper did a great job with it. So I think it's definitely one of the best ones for sure. And it's a classic horror film, and the debut of Leatherface and his crazy family. So it's interesting because how the rest of the sequels really made Leatherface. Sometimes would make him kind of the main character, or like even the future ones where it's just like, yep, just Leatherface. We don't need the rest of the family. Just Leatherface. Just fuck the rest of that family. The rest of them are dead. The hell with it. It's just him. So it's like, okay, but that was kind of the charm of the original, is you had this kind of crazy family. It was never just Leatherface by himself. It was this crazy family that eats people and tortures them and makes them feel horrible. So yeah, it's a really well-made film. I would definitely watch that one again. And that leads us to number one, which is Texas Chainsaw number 2. And let me tell you, when I saw this movie, I was like, okay, Dennis Hopper's in it. That's cool. And you know what? This movie is insane. It is crazy. The woman playing on the radio, she's good. And then you have Dennis Hopper, who's basically supposed to be related to Sally Hardesty and Franklin, and is looking for vengeance against them. And then we have Leatherface, and the cook is back. And then we have Chop Top, who was great. A great addition to the family. Totally over the top. I've seen that actor in a lot of things. He's good. But yeah, it's fun. It's campy. And it's kind of, Tobe Hooper wanted to make it a little more campy, I think, is what he said. He said, I went a little dark on that one. Let's go a little more campy on this one if we're going to do a sequel. But it's really good. Yeah, there's a whole highway scene that's really fun, and the stuff in the actual like studio when he's going after Leatherface and all that. And Chop Top is just, great. He's probably the price of admission for this movie. But no, it's fun. And Dennis Hopper's good, Can't go wrong with Dennis Hopper. So, yeah. So I would say, yeah, that would be my favorite Texas Chainsaw Massacre is actually the second one. Just kind of more my style, I think, if I was going to go to it. But both of them are really good. It's very neck and neck. And the remake is solid, too. So, like I said, top 3 really good, watchable films. Everything after that is like, well, if it happens to be on late night, maybe I'll watch it if it's on streaming or something. If I'm just looking to watch something, or if I want to say, hey, let's make fun of this terrible movie, I might watch it. But most of these I probably wouldn't watch again if I had a choice. But the top 3, definitely, I would. So that is my ranking of Texas Chainsaw Massacre films. So I'll probably do more rankings. I will do a Halloween one eventually again. We tried to film and didn't actually get to upload, but and you can see other rankings. Friday the 13th, Final Destination, Nightmare on Elm Street is on here. So I will, I've never done Child's Play. I should work on that one. We got to watch the 3rd season of Chucky still, but yeah, but yeah, so that is my ranking, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, I'll be back with another video talking about the Venomverse, Sonyverse. I might take a little break and do that later. But yeah, so that is my ranking, guys. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you later.